This is the Creative Liberty Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Today, if you notice the title of this episode, we're going to talk Colorado politics for just a minute. It's going to be quick, so fasten up. Here we go. I just love that music. It's so chill. So you've heard the statement, the lesser of two evils. And a lot of times, I was talking to a good friend this weekend about voting for the lesser of two evils. Well, as a Christian, as a believer, I just don't subscribe to that kind of train of thought. Like if you're thinking if you have to vote for the lesser of two evils, then you're still voting for evil, right? When there comes a candidate that you look at and you think, well, I could vote for that person based on this criteria, their platform, and it wouldn't be the lesser of two evils, which leads us into us talking about a Colorado Senate race for one of our senators. Now, I don't always vote Republican. I was independent for a long time, Libertarian. Now I'm back to Republican. I'd switched just because they've changed it since. I should probably go back and just change my voter registration. Anyway, so you couldn't vote if you weren't a party member or whatever. So I was like, I'll just vote Republican, change it to Republican. Because as an independent, I couldn't vote in the Republican primary. They've since changed it. I can go back to being an independent or Libertarian, or I just wished it would say Christian on there. But anyway. So just out of the gate, here in Colorado, Joe O'Dea is running for Senate, and he's the Republican. He's the conservative. He may or may not win. We don't know. And he has come out recently and said some things that just don't sit well with me. He is for codifying Roe v. Wade and for abortion, and for me, that's a no-go. Like, I'm sorry. I am pro-life. And there's whole other podcast about Roe v. Wade if you want to go listen to that one. So I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not gonna touch the third rail like my uncle says. So he's also come out recently in an interview and said that if he's elected, he'll do everything he can to keep Trump from running. Okay. Here's where that breaks down for me, and here's why I have a problem. One, I'm pro-life, and I'm not going to vote for anyone I'm going to vote for anyone who's pro-choice, pro-abortion. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I don't care if it's a Republican. I don't care if it's a friend, a relative. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to vote for you. I'd much rather lose a Senate seat and vote my conscience and vote my convictions than vote for someone who I've heard a lot of people say, well, we may agree with them 80%, but there's this 20% that we disagree with them. But, hey, they could sway an election, or they could put in the next, Supreme Court justice. No, that 20% when it comes down to having abortion on demand or late-term abortion, no, it's a 20%. I'm going to die on that hill, period. So I'm not going to do that. If I get elected and I go to Washington, I'm going to do everything I can to keep Trump from running. This has nothing to do with Trump. It doesn't even have anything to do with Biden. It doesn't have anything to do with the presidency. It is the fact that if we do elect someone to go to Washington on our behalf, your job is not to keep someone else from being the president, doing everything you can. What does that mean? So that's not why we're sending you to Washington. So if you're conservative, if you're a moderate Democrat who's looking at don't want to vote for the Democrat, don't want to vote for the Republican, may I introduce the Libertarian candidate? The Libertarian candidate, when I started looking at his platforms, it's not your typical Libertarian, say from the last time we had an election. May I introduce to you Brian Peotter. I might be saying his last name wrong, but Forgive me, Brian. I'm looking forward to voting for you. So about Brian, is one of the nation's up-and-coming advocates for liberty, an outspoken champion against oppression and government overreach. A son of the American Revolution, Brian is focused on standing up for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The first and most important of which is life. Now, I'm not going to read everything in his platform. He's got it front page, bam, there it is. Abortion, he's not for it. Adoption, the adoption system is pretty much broken in this country, but he addresses adoption and talks about that, which, as someone who has adopted, I'm all for that. He's for ending the war in Ukraine. He is for freedom from the federal mandates and emergency powers. When has that ever been? Oh, yeah, recently. Inflation, he's against inflation. He is also for election integrity. He is for gun rights, so the Second Amendment. He might be for human sexuality, but he addresses human sexuality, and he just talks about the government should not be involved in funding gender transition surgeries or providing funds to educate employees on sexuality. I agree. Immigration. He is for a peaceful individual coming to this country legally. He's not for flooding our borders. That's an invasion. And so go to his website. It's POETTER.com. I'll put all this in the descriptions below. But Brian Peotter, his family man, looks like he's got 3 kids. I've watched a couple of interviews with him, and I don't know if he's debated anybody yet. I don't think I've come across any of that, but I'm really impressed with the Libertarian candidate for Colorado. And so if you're trying to decide the lesser of 2 evils, may I introduce Brian Peotter? He's also a Christian, so there's a lot of information on his website. And you can contribute, you can join. I wished he had a T-shirt. I had a red cap on. You've seen it in some of my videos. And someone said, I thought that was a Trump hat for a minute. First of all, I'm thinking, so what if it was? I don't care. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer. I don't care. Anyway, but it wasn't. And I'm like, I don't give billionaires money for their merch. I'm not against wearing their merch or buying merch or anything like that, but I'm just not going to give billionaires money. But I would buy a T-shirt or a hat from, the underdog candidate sometimes. But anyway, I got enough hats and shirts. I don't need any more. But he's been endorsed. Let's look at his endorsements real quick. Walter E. Block, he's a PhD. Ron Hanks is a Colorado representative. He's endorsed Brian. The Libertarian Party Mises Caucus has endorsed him. He's got a tweet here from Donald Trump not endorsing him, but basically saying that Joe O'Dea is just another rhino, and that's not what we need in fighting for Coloradans. So anyway, that's it for today. That's all I want to say. I wanted to introduce you, my viewers, listeners, to Brian Peotter. Go check him out. That's who I'm voting for the Colorado Senate. And I might do a couple of these before the election. We've got election in about 14 days, a couple of weeks, midterm elections. And, everybody's like, it's a red wave, man. It's a red wave. The Republicans are really good about shooting themselves in the foot when it comes to winning elections, when it's handed to them on a silver platter for some reason. Yep. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You just got to get out and vote. Vote your conscience, first of all. Okay? Vote your conscience. I'm not voting for the Republican candidate. I don't just go down. I actually research my candidates and see what they believe. I opened up the ballot the other day and I was like, yep, okay, I know who I'm going to vote for here. Oh, man. They've got judges on here again. It's like 30-something judge. It looks like the pages kept unfolding. 30-something judges to research and see if they should retain their position. I figure if they're doing a good job, and if they're, fair and honest and tough on crime, then keep them in office. I don't care. Keep them at their post. All right. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go flirt with my wife and play with my daughter. Enjoy the afternoon. It's a beautiful fall day here in Colorado. Once again, Brian Peotter. Give him a look over and vote for him. Yeah. I think it would be phenomenal if Joe O'Dea lost to the Libertarian 2 weeks before the election. I think it'd be outstanding. Out-freaking-standing. All right. Oh, and yes. I shaved the beard off. And the only reason a man shaves his beard off is to grow a new one. This podcast brought to you by Me Without a Beard. For all your beard advice, go check out my YouTube channel, MajorChisholm.com, YouTube. There's some beard videos on there. Until next time, thanks for being here. I'm really grateful you're here. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you guys on the next one.